Okay.
when it's recording. So go ahead and...
But what is this place? This used to be something relevant to the history of Charleston. This used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion site. I'll be brief with the history here as quickly as I can because I don't like the teenagers to feel like they're back at school. So, I think Gail's like, yeah, thank you for that. I want to get you guys to work. So, who the heck were Charles and Eliza Pinckney? They had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. So that's 3 different Chucks. That's why we look for secondary clues when we're kind of going through this. I need to know which Charles is coming through in the event that Andrea gets the name Charles back there. So, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. I hate politics more than anybody here, so we're going to move on. If I don't bring that up, they normally do it for me in a spirit box very angrily, like, where's my recognition kind of mentality. So we're going to move on to Eliza anyway. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards. If you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, don't expect numbers like 12 and 14 from the colonial days that she came from. Think of today's standards, because her husband was over double her age. It was a creepy age gap in the 1700s. It's a creepy age gap now. Which, by the way, all of you Spirit Box people, I'm not going to be giving you questions here moving forward. Like, what color was George Washington's white horse, right? So it's just one of those pieces where you're going to get the answers from your Spirit Boxes for a genuine experience. Anyway, back to Eliza. She married Charles because her father was over in England. He thought he was dying. She's trying to bring all of his kids home one last time so he can see them. Eliza didn't believe he was dying, so she stayed put, and she got married. It's 1744. You don't get married in that year to get a green card. We're not a country yet. So she did marry this guy out of love. This is a true love story. So don't poke the bear about the marriage. There was no foul play at all, just so you guys have that idea. But anyway, she was right. Dad did not die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts from England to where we're standing right now. You guys have been in town for a day. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. Dad sent her seeds of indigo. That is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. That's how we use it today. I see maybe some examples in our group. It's too dark out here tonight. But anyway, that's what we use it for now. When she got her seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She actually had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always hot here. There was a voice right there. I missed what it said though. So when she learned how to keep it going, she had to learn how to make the dye. When she learned how to make the dye, she moved it to a cash crop plantation just south of here. So when she got down there, she got a hold of her dad and said, rice plantations are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with this indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial time. That's something absolutely unheard of. So that's the boring business stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird shit, because that's why you guys are all here. So with the spirit boxes, I'm going to be basically focusing questions on each type of spirit box based on what you have. Keep in mind, remember that the answers can go anywhere. That's why I do a round robin. You guys aren't going to know what everybody else is hearing. So yeah, we'll start with yours, Nessa. So Eliza was the second wife named Eliza back to back. So you can basically ask Eliza which one we're dealing with by asking what her maiden name is. Both Elizas had a maiden name that started with the letter L. So hopefully you get an L name out of there and it's the correct one so we know who we're dealing with. You two back there, yours usually only gives me 1 to 2 syllable answers. So Emma, yours kind of works the same way. So you guys are going to have the same set of questions. The mansion's not here anymore. So you can ask what happened to it and then when did that happen. So obviously we're looking for a date. If we get the what, we normally get 2 or 3 numbers of the date. So kind of keep that, and they're very specific numbers, not like 1, 2, 3, 4. So kind of keep that in mind. So what happened to the mansion, and then when did that happen? 2 very simple questions. So the 2 young ladies with the red spirit boxes, you're going to have the same set of questions as well. It's another reason why I like to split them into different groups. We are staying away from the children. Everybody with a spirit box, do not ask about the children. I will tell you about them before we go, but we're really close to a tragic date among the children, and I'm trying not to poke the bear here. So you two are going to go after her death. That sounds happy, right? So she's pretty open about talking about it, but the 4 major questions that we get answers to are going to be the age at which she died, what she died from, where she's buried, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So that should tell you like how important this young lady actually was. If you go rogue with anything, just make sure A, it's not anything foul play on the marriage, and or anything about the children, and make sure it's not a yes/no question. It's pretty simple rules, right? And a lot of people ask me, am I supposed to be asking these questions out loud? That's completely up to you. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I'm just giving you the commonalities of the things that I've seen here over the past 4 years. So you can either just focus on those questions and wait and listen, because again, you never know what questions are being asked elsewhere, or you can physically ask and try to have a conversation with Eliza. It just depends on however you want to go about doing this. So, I don't think I need to focus on anybody specifically. I think you guys got it all down. But yeah, we're gonna start spreading out. Let's get those. Obviously, the video cameras are already running, so I say we get those beer. Anybody hear anything, by the way, before we start spreading out?
She's been right in the car with the phone.
Cash dump 47.
All that while we were saying, Steve.
Do you remember what the number 47 is reference to?
I think it was his number, wasn't it? Like the New York Times.
He played for the 1947 New
Oh,
York
that's-
Giants. That's the year he got drafted. I do like the word cargo, by the way. I want to wait to see if something else is going to pop up with it, just to kind of clarify. Like, it's a little vague because there's a lot of cargo.
Like some advertisement from cargo.com.
Perfect. That's exactly the type of things you should be telling me. And a lot of people will take notes on their phone like that if you're, want to do that because you're hearing so much. Then by all means, go ahead and do that, and I'll take a look and just cherry pick what I feel is going to be relevant. But otherwise, Gail?
When we first came into this parking lot, I heard the word number 240.
I don't know what it is, but I'm definitely going to write it down.
It was a male voice. It said number 240.
So unless it's a disembodied voice, I don't care what gender it is, simply because
Okay.
you're listening to radio stations.
Right.
Disembodied voices with these kind of earbuds are normally not going to be found in real time. It's going to be in a recording with much better, like when you're using better earphones. But again, don't worry about the gender. It's just a matter of like, what's the message?
Okay.
So Andrea, did you get anything out of yours yet? I did hear that like woman talking.
Yeah.
I just couldn't make out what she said.
I heard you and I.
Okay, kind of vague. I'm not going to take that one yet.
Yeah.
But again, we'll kind of see what else goes along with this. What other words do you have going on with yours? Give me the last 3 words. Mitten. Yeah, we're definitely not using mittens out here. So very interesting. That's a weird term to find on there. And Emma, have you heard anything yet? No? Okay. It's got to set at a comfortable volume. So again, it's not easy. I mean, you know that, so you have one too. So you just might struggle with it for a while. That's okay.
I have hearing loss in that ear, so.
Oh, you definitely have to use your left ear. All right, guys, let's spread about. Just keep in mind of the vehicles, especially the people that are in them. So, and you're recording right now, Steven? All right, perfect. So I will kind of keep you back just for a few minutes. I always like to keep somebody back so I can show them a little bit more about their device, and that way it kind of gives everybody else a head start. Kind of stuck with the IR cam since he's got his lights blinding that way. So sorry, Izzy, but are you recording it? Yes, you're blinking. I can see it. So I mean, again, holding it belly level, perfect. You know what I mean? And that way nobody really knows what you're doing. But again, if somebody comes out and goes through another car, just point it down. You got it. But yeah, let's spread out. So Steven, you're going to stay with me for just a few minutes. Gail, if you want to hang out too, so you can kind of see that. But yeah, spread out. And I'll be with everybody in just a minute, kind of see what's going on. All right. So with yours, I was going to point out specifically, if you point your camera like towards where that sign is over there, just kind of hold it up over there. Perfect. So didn't pick it up. Nice. Perfect. That's why they call it ghost hunting. They never will stand still. So normally it would pick up like right around here and try to make a person out of it. But of course it's not doing that right now. It's probably because there's too much light. And it's depicting that it's just a post standing over there. So when those lights go out from the car, it might pick it up. But that's only because that post is in front of that building. So it's always going to pick up something that's in front of something else. It's just a sensory, it's like a depth perception camera. So again, it's a lot of debunking. You might have to get close to things. Just move close to it slowly to kind of see if and oh, by the way, anything with a leaf in it is not your friend. It's going to make it look like something all the time. So a tree, a bush, we're going to be by an ivy wall later on, and I'm going to tell you flat out that it's not your friend. Like, just don't even point your camera in that direction. Go ahead and lower your camera for me. She's getting out of her vehicle. He had a 3.4, was it? What do you got going on there?
I heard the voice say the things we did.
It's still kind of vague, but I like it. Just picked up on this quick. Between you and Brandy. So there are some nights, believe it or not, people that struggle with that thing all the time. They don't get much out of it until I have to spot check in the morning.
Yeah, I can.
Hopefully we get a better score of like, hey, maybe I found something. Everybody be mindful of the vehicle. So Fred and Andrea, that's the only exit. That's where they're going.
Yeah, I can. Now that the lights went
Perfect.
out.
So yeah, it does it every single night. I just didn't want you to get excited about it.
Okay.
I've debunked it 1,000 times on Monday. So I'm trying to make sure like there's not somebody getting there.
All right, so we were in this parking lot.
Just stay away from vehicles.
Okay.
It's the only thing I ask. And you have an extra earbud, so you might actually want to listen in on it.
Yeah.
So, was I guessing right whether you being a teenager, by the way?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
16.
Okay, I never know. So, my 17-year-old daughter is literally this big.
Really?
My 22-year-old is about 2 inches shorter than her.
Oh my
So, and she has a child. So, it's for her to walk around with a baby, like you can imagine all the comments that she gets that she's a child with a child. But again, when I see teenagers, I'm like, I have no idea. Because, you know, my girl's mom is like super short. So it was just a matter of like they were going to come out short because the women on my side of the family are also short.
Right.
And then my current wife is my height. So, you know, that's a big change. You know, so it's just weird, you know, because my 17-year-old is going to be going off to college next year.
Right.
And she's going to be made fun of because of how short she is. And she's not growing any further. Like, we've been measuring, like, let's see if you're going to get any bigger than your sister. Nope, not happening. So, but kudos to you for getting the height. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, have fun with that camera. Again, if I don't always follow up with the camera and I'm talking to mom more, I'm sorry, are you mom?
Yes.
Okay. I had a couple last night bring their nephews.
Oh.
So I had to remember that they were aunt and uncle kind of mentality. And I hate to assume anything, but yeah, in the event that you want to help, you want to help her out and actually grab that other earbud, that thing spreads apart. They're cheapos, so they're yours. I don't want them back, so if you need to spread them apart so he can help you listen, but you're doing fairly well already, so it's really good. And the fact that she heard the number 47, I'm like, hoorah, yes, finally. I like the when we get bleed over. We'll talk more about that before we leave, but I'll shut up and let you listen in. I'm going to start pulling over.
Alright. So just stay away from vehicles.
Yeah, don't shine them at vehicles or people.
I got some things over here, but that's the car. It's a tree. Anything with leaves sucks. You hear anything? It's just the post. Car with lights messes with the thing.
Don't shine it at people at cars. Is this where I'm supposed to ask the questions?
No, you're just listening and telling him what you hear.
Yeah, but remember he said about us, we're supposed to ask questions about her death?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess you could. You can go like in your head too. Well, you don't have to say them out loud. That post with the the text the Texas number, it looks like a person with like a blockhead on this camera. It's weird. This place is filled with trees, so it's kind of What?
Just asking here.
There's nothing over here. Anything new? I'm getting nothing. Not even the trees are getting picked up.
All right. Anything crazy on yours, Steven?
No.
Anything coming out of yours?
No name. 447.
Should I?
I got the name Isaac. He said, "Oh, they know we're coming." So maybe that has to do with the next place.
Alright. And if you wouldn't mind, can you use that for me? Sorry, I'm getting distracted. That's
Sure.
like the one device that distracts me. Because I want to listen to it, and I will keep continuing to listen and not tell you guys what you need to know. So anything higher than that 15?
No, not at all.
Okay, so let's talk about EMF for just a second before I reveal all the answers. We got this thing all the way up to a 15 milligauss. If you were to take John's device, which, by the way, have I screwed up anybody's name other than Nessa? It's just that one time? All right, perfect. So if you were to take John's device, put it behind your TV set, it's going to read about 40 to 60. Particular is a popular Ghost Tour staple. Every Ghost Tour comes down here. This is the one I'm retiring this year, just simply because it is too busy for my taste. But the story is still fantastic. That's the reason why I'm going to keep it in for this year. And I'm adding in a murder mystery next year. So like I said, I take out one every year and add a new one. This comes out, the murder mystery gets added in, and it's never been solved in Charleston. So I'm hoping that we're going to be able to, like, hopefully put some clues together and really get down into the nitty-gritty with it. But anyway, this place is called Philadelphia Alley. So, we got Dad involved with the spirit box now, so we're going to see what we can get out of that one. She's like, yep, it's story time. I'm going to sit down. So, this place used to be called Dueler's Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. I say some because dueling was illegal. They still had to find hiding spots. So the fact that you had hide in their homes, that's a very interesting piece that came up out of Brandy's spirit box. But anyway, they're all telling the same story. We're just going to cover it a little bit differently because you're ghost hunting. You need details, not the campfire marshmallow kind of story. So let's get into it. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. For those of you listening to your spirit boxes and me at the same time, if you get the song Brown Eyed Girl, it is not coincidence. That's part of his name. We get it all the time. So anyway, he moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. Didn't know if they were going to be coming this way. Yeah, looks like they are. Alright, maybe they're not. Perfect, look at you guys. You guys are hysterical. Super quiet group, and I turn around and you guys are all perfectly lined up. But anyway, the attorney tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. He's just going to be out after your money. Dr. Ladd moved to Charleston to prove that he's not. So, on his way into town, the coachman that brought him in set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a good start to his stay in Charleston, and now we're going to let them pass through.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're good.
Oh,
You're
sorry,
good.
folks, thank you.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Thank you. Thank you. Yep.
What did you hear? I was so confused. That's something. That's actually.
I'm the guy that scares you in this alley, really? Wow. I know, right? I wasn't even trying. I'm like, uh-oh, I'll be the creeper back here. But anyway, so this coachman was trying to kill him because he had a gunman inside the place where the doctor was supposed to be dropped off. But somebody seen what was about to happen. His name is Ralph Isaacs. So he, and by the way, I'm going to stop on Ralph for a second. He actually has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. We were getting the initials RI on spirit boxes all the time, so I bought a digital Ouija board. It actually has the letters of the alphabet and a little cursor that goes over it, so anytime there's an EMF spike, just like John's device, it stops the cursor and puts that letter into a separate row. We are looking to see if we are getting the letters RI, as I brought up either Ralph or the doctor. And we've got it, I've had it for about 6 months, we've had it at least 4 or 5 times when I brought up Ralph Isaacs. So again, RI are not together in the alphabet. It is in the regular alphabet order. So take that for what it's worth. But anyway, back to Ralph. He tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me. I got friends at 59 Church Street. You can stay there, rent a room, and you'll be safe. The doctor took him up on the offer, and the two became friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he wasn't after Amanda's cash flow. Now, Amanda gets wind that he's making his own money, and she's moving down so they can get married. Doctor gets wind of her coming down. He now becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Men whistled back in the 1780s when they were happy. So, every ghost door that comes down here will tell you to listen for the whistles. Do you hear how quiet it is here right now? We have 3 video cameras running plus my voice recorder. If we're going to get a whistle, it's going to show up on one of those 4 devices. On the spirit boxes, we've gotten the word whistle and the word doctor after it on a separate spirit box. Take it for what it is. Again, I've been coming here for 4 years as well, which is another reason why I'm going to retire it. Now, back to the doctor. Ralph and Dr. Lag go some plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. That's just the way the hierarchy of Charleston works. They're talking about a play one night on the way home, and they're arguing over the new actress. The doctor thought that the new actress was great. Ralph didn't. It turns into an argument, and then Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiance back home in Rhode Island, Amanda. It gets really ugly. They go their separate ways. Ralph has friends around town, like I mentioned, so he goes to his friends at the newspaper, puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a "you're a disgrace to society" kind of mentality. So it's like the first form of social media, really, if you think about it. The same way we do things on Twitter and Facebook, right? But anyway, doctor saw the ad, but rebutted with, "Let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this. Somebody's going to die." So they came down, they took their 10 paces, they turned, the doctor points his gun in the air, and he shoots. He didn't want to kill his friend. He only had one bullet. He just wanted to have the courage to show up to the fight. Ralph has his one bullet still and puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. The doctor doesn't die, but he falls to the ground. His friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later on November 2nd of 1786 after refusing medical treatment. So, two things. Gunshot wounds were a lot different in 1786 than they are now. So, it's 10 days later, and he refused medical treatment. He's a doctor. He probably just tried to bleed this out himself because he probably just thought he had lead poisoning. But he failed, obviously, because he died. Every ghost tour, like I said, will tell you to listen for the whistles. So, again, we're going to hopefully get the whistles on one of our 4 devices or something on a spirit box that's relative to the name Whistling Doctor. If you're going to try this on your own and go all the way through the alley, turn on your voice recorders on your phone and listen to it later and see what you can get. It's not always a perfectly audible piece. By the way, it's always this quiet, even on a busy Saturday afternoon, unless those air conditioners are running. I always, by the way, if you're going to do this on your own and you get a whistle in the background, just keep in mind every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street throws a whistle down here. I do it every night. So my car, well, we didn't pass my lot tonight because we had to go up and around, but my garage is down this way, my office is that way. So I have to pass the alley every night, and I always throw a whistle down here since I got thrown out. Let me tell you about that. John's like, "Oh shit, you're about to tell my kids how we get thrown out of places." Good. So that's the fun part of the story. That's why we're here. And so when I first started doing this, I need to point out a few things first. The alley didn't go all the way through this way. So there was a wall right about where those folks were standing. That's because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. It was called Cow Alley before it was Dueler's Alley. That means the bricks on the other side, down at the end by Queen Street, are older than the bricks we're standing on. Those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's one full handprint at the end with fingerprint swipes in the other. So I used to take my group all the way through there and show off the handprint simply because we all need to see it, just to show how far we've come away from slavery. Now, I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That's the last place you're going to find that child that made that handprint. Again, he doesn't want to be there. So, November 26th of 2020, my entire group is huddled around that brick, waiting for something to happen with the devices that I gave them. Nothing's happening. I'm trying to shoo them along because it's also outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm just trying to be respectful. I didn't know I was out of bounds for tourists at that time of night. So the new owner came out. He thought he's come out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at, and it was a good time for her. We moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving because I worked in retail management, mainly for Walmart, for a good part of 20 years. I don't work Thanksgiving. You all get my point. The next day, November 28th, I called my partner, told him what happened, and he laughed at me. He's like, "Dude, you can't go down that far. You're only allowed to go down halfway or reroute the group." Obviously, it's residential at the end. So I said, "All right, cool." I decided to reroute my group that night, but I told them I don't believe in the next story because I've never had anything happen there. And I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. We're discussing pirates' nets, in case you couldn't, get that gist. But anyway, before we left, somebody hears the name Anne on a spirit box. I didn't tell them who we were going to be investigating. Anne Bonny, the famous female pirate. Going, "Oh shit, maybe we got something going on." We go over there. I told them a little bit I did know about piracy at the time. Somebody else, here's the number 300. I don't know what that means. I write it down. The next morning, I do the research. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. I seen jitters and a couple of jaw drops, and I'm like, you guys were excited about that. I was pissed off. Let me tell you why. Master's degree in creative writing. I still need facts and data, especially when we're doing investigations. Pirate lore is pirate stories are based off of pirate lore. So again, it was written 100 years after the fact, unless of course you can get a hold of the captain's logs from when these pirates actually sailed. So again, very difficult to prove everything that we're about to go through. But I've read more damn books on pirates than I ever wanted to in my entire life. So everything we're going to be discussing at the next location, minimum of 2 resources. So it can be, I'll go very quick with that piece of history because it can be long if I'm not. So we will spread out in the space and we'll be able to investigate like what we did at the Pinckney Mansion site. But before we, and we're going to just stay out of the way of the other tours, as I'm sure you guys have already picked up on that. The gate before we leave, you guys are really quiet. So Andrea, you're like lasered right now. Like she's just like, her eyes have not blinked. I know, right? I talk fast, so it's part of the reason why I record everything. The gate. Remember I told you that the alley didn't go all the way through this way? In the event that there was a loser to one of the duels, the dead guy, this was the shortcut to get to the cemetery on the other side of the wall. Otherwise, they're carrying the dead body all the way down to Queen Street and then double backing with the dead body to be able to drop the body in the pre-dug grave before they could go celebrate the winner. The wrought iron gate was probably put here in the early 1900s, but when you guys walk by it, you can definitely see where the archway is part of the original wall. So there have been a lot of duels down here. Some say that Andrew Jackson had a duel down here. They say you could find gunshot, bullet wounds and bullet holes in the walls. That's probably part of the reason why there's so much ivy and foliage down here, so you don't have to search for them. They don't want people doing that. But again, kind of a weird space. Anything show up on our word list or anything that was heard before we leave the space? You got gateway as we're talking about the gate. It's almost like they knew I was going to talk about the gate. Damn ghosts. John, what'd you hear? You're excited. Tell me something.
It's really hard to interpret. It just comes and goes. Come on. I thought I heard red wine. I don't know.
Like red wine?
Yeah, just the words of that song.
Okay. Here, I'm still going to write it down because it's something specific. Brandy, you got something else?
Survive, love, any feedback, firework, our citizenship, unsuspected, living with prayer, a sign, truth, teenager, I'm just better, I believe, no one, find a way, tried to find it, crying an apple.
Jeez, a list.
That's why she's writing them down.
I got nothing.
You got nothing? It's okay, she got enough for you. You were obviously on mute.
Bruce has teen too, like it did say.
It's also hard to focus on you
I know.
and this at the same time.
But I could tell, like, she was looking down. I'm like, she's not even listening to me right now. It's just, so that's why we record everything, right? So you can go, like, this way it's a double back. You can do whatever you want to do. So I'm not offended. She wants to work on the spirit box. Let her work on the damn spirit box. So we are going to go up and around the corner. Definitely get you unmuted. Any readings from the EMF, by the way?
No, it was like 1.8 at the most.
Like I said, this is the place for 7. We're going to go back to 2.5 at the next location. But again, these lampposts can interfere, so that's why I go straight to a 7. And I also don't know, like, if there are a lot of other tours in here, we kind of have to pick a spot. So sometimes that spot can be near a building where it's giving off a little bit of EMF. So, but anything crazy going on with yours over there, Fred?
I mean, nothing. I'm not like pro. I did see like around her legs got like the black thing for a minute, but
Okay.
I mean, it's on there before that. I don't know.
You're like the most steady cameraman I think I've ever seen with that thing. So you're getting a job later, so we'll talk.
Shit.
What's it say? For Dr. Ladd. It says the word shit. Like, I don't think I've ever seen that on there. I've seen the F-bomb on there. And the funny thing is I hate to put it out there like this, but we'll just say that the age group of the tour that I had was well into the senior levels, the entire group. And it dropped the F-bomb on this little old lady, and I want to say her name was Betty. She's like 87. She's carrying around that, and it says the F-bomb. So I immediately took it out of the list because all of them were just appalled that the F word would show up on one of these devices. I'm like, all right, let's go learn about rated R pirates. You ready for this? That was a punny. Nobody, somebody got it.
Johnny dead?
We're going to talk about it.
Should I stop recording then?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. So they drop her. He drops her off in Cuba before she starts the show and says, "Go have the baby and come back later, and we'll figure it out." She goes and has the baby, but returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to that child in Cuba, by the way. So she also, but none of my research has ever found it. Some of you are looking at me like astonished. I've done a lot of reading on pirates. It's not there. I don't know what happened. But she comes back dressed as a female. This is what makes Jack angry. Nothing about the baby. The fact that everybody's now going to know he let a female on the pirate crew. To make Jack even more mad, he just captured another pirate crew, and Anne's going to go flirting with them down below deck because that's who Anne is. So we're on guy number 3, in case you lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the pirate crew the Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females, just like males, on the same ship. Her and Mary became, this young lady's name was Mary Reed, by the way. She went by Mark Reed. Her and Mary are now friends, possibly lovers. We don't really know, because there's no record of it, obviously. But the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of Navy ships to come take down one pirate ship. Rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up with 1-bullet flintlocks because they don't know how to use cannons yet. So, 2 ladies with flintlocks are not going to take on a whole fleet of ships. They get arrested. As they're being arrested, she looks at her bow and Captain Calico Jack says, "I'm so sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up on your spirit boxes all the time. The judge wants to see the 2 quote-unquote men that fought back so valiantly on their own. So he's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunken pirates that wouldn't fight. They're dead and gone. The 2 ladies go in front to reveal their gender and hoping to save themselves. The judge doesn't give a shit that they're female. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. So they both scream out, "We plead our bellies," which means they're both claiming to be pregnant. So, sorry, didn't mean to present you to be pregnant. But you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail and delays the hanging. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne and brings her home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary Reed because we don't really know. She has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Very abrupt ending because we don't know much about her after her pirate career. Mary Reed dies 5 months later in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Most books will tell you that it was fever. I say let's make it romantic and call it scurvy. Why the hell not? Now, I'm not going to assign questions here. You guys know what to do with all of your spirit boxes and communication devices. I'm just going to tell you what I left out of the story on purpose, so that way you guys have something to work with. Remember, I'm withholding information. I left out the name of Anne Bonny's parents. That's the father and his mistress. So you can ask about them and what their names are. I also left out the name of the city where Anne grew up in Ireland, the name of Calico Jack's ship, and the color of Anne Bonny's hair. These are things that we commonly get here, and this is a place where we don't have to tiptoe and show like that full respect like I went over with about the Pinkley Mansion site. So again, if you have to poke the bear in here a little bit, poke the bear a little bit to get your answers. Remember, they can show up anywhere. So before we separate and kind of get things started, we will stay within the confines here. If you want to go sit on that little bench by the brick wall and listen to your spirit box, that's fine too. Do whatever you want to do. This is your space. So what have we heard before we leave? I know Brandy's got a full list. We'll let you go first and out of the way.
Make all kinds of cash, resist, diamond rings, and pick up.
Sounds like a whole lot of like shady, sketchy pirate stuff, right? That's what's our last few words? Soldier. That's an interesting one. We'll see if something else pops up. Who else? John? Who's got it now?
She has it for sure.
What'd you hear, Emma? 200? So 200 and money? We still got all of his money terms, Gail.
Jimmy, sexual, and reboot.
Yeah, that sexual thing shows up here a lot too. So I'm just going to point that out. You've been on mute, so let's definitely get those cameras up and running. So, Steven, this is the wall I was telling you about.
Okay.
That's not your friend.
No.
So, again, anywhere else around here, just keep in mind. Oh, EMF. I don't expect a whole lot of EMF out of this space. The closer you get to the corners, we have 2 electrical poles up there. Don't get too excited. Just kind of have that idea. So, just like to debunk that ahead of time. Dude, you've been amazing. I always check to make sure that the camera's on the left side because I don't, YouTube doesn't know what the flippies are, so I hate when you guys get an upside down video. So you've been doing awesome, by the way. I just like to point that out. But yeah, let's get that thing unmuted, Andrea, and let's get to work. You guys know what you're doing. Let's spread out. Let's do it.
All right.
You guys all go in the same direction. That's so fun. You get a chance to listen in on that a little bit?
A little bit. I couldn't hear much of anything,
It's
really.
not easy, is it?
No.
It's a hard job.
Yeah.
probably why they never went up. I was over there.
What?
Never went up with that much land.
Oh, where is
I think I have the most pointless job here. This thing doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It just picks up objects. It doesn't, nothing. Anything. Wow, that's a lot.
I don't know if anything is relevant.
Let's see. Big time opportunity might be a thing. Big time opportunity. Divine. You just have to wait. This is gonna sound like the Black Flag in Assassin's Creed is based on pirates. There's so many.
Can't hear.
Never mind. The Assassin's Creed game Black Flag is based off of pirates. There's so many like events that he was talking about. Like, oh yeah, that's in the game. It's so weird.
Picks up voices.
No, it doesn't. It just picks up
Oh.
movements. It just, yeah. It doesn't do anything, really. Except for picking up trees and my own shadow, which is probably the best at. So, yeah.
to take it 2 steps further. So first off, the person that's going to be under that whole estimate method doesn't know the history either. So that way they're not like free.
Well, a lot more this time.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, good. You got somebody already ready to go under. That's good. So, sounds like oh shit. All right, Gail. What do you got?
No, I got a lot more.
Good. Getting gooder at it, I see.
You just have to wait.
Okay.
Divine, Alan Jackson. I figured that might be it. Jazz band. Gonna need a couple more zeros. 843.
That's our area code.
Oh, artist. Support his family. 347. Traveling down. Appear to you. Big time opportunity. Worshipper. Old man. They can survive. Underground. Gather the evidence.
Jackson's relevant because we get Jackson over here all the time. And it's not necessarily Alan Jackson, but the name Jackson himself, simply because John Calhoun is buried on the other side of that wall. He served, he was vice president under Jackson.
Oh, okay.
So we get it all the time.
Okay, cool.
47. So I'll have to see the year how he died, but I know it was in March, so we have that 3. I don't know if it was what year it was exactly, so I'll have to dive in and see if that makes sense. So that if those two, like if it does make sense, like it is the year of his birth or death, then obviously we have the Jacksons, we have somebody going on Calhoun here tonight. Normally we don't hear from him until the month of March because he was born in March and died in March. So again, I don't even talk about him unless something like this pops up. So we'll see if I get anything out of it when I'm doing the research. So, but I think I'm ready for a roundup. Andrea, you guys ready to go to the wall over here? Have a seat. Let's go have a seat. Let's go see what we can talk about over here. Anything weird on your camera, Steven?
Nope.
Here, leave your wife alone back, with her parents back here in Charleston, and you go get your work done. He goes out there and writes his last words. His last words were, "Beholder of brief mortality," translates to "person of short life." And then he coughs, and it lands on the page in a blood stain. The blood stain, he had tuberculosis, in case anybody was wondering, if that's where the death came from. He dies right on the page, but the blood stain looks like a man writing at his desk. So it was a perfect marking for him to leave us with this blood stain. They show this book one day a year at the Charleston Library Society on Halloween only. You gotta be part of the Library Society to be able to go see it, but the internet's beautiful. So I'm gonna show you the page, and then we're gonna go talk to Brandy as if she were Henry Timrod, while Gail is actually telling us what images that she's seeing coming out of her device. So let's take a look at this blood stain, because that's always fun, right? Looking at blood. So you can obviously see this is his last page. Blood stain looks just like a man writing at his desk. We call this the blood book here in Charleston. So the whole page tells me the whole story because it does say beholder of brief mortality. But again, Henry Timrod's legacy, he died at the age of 38. So he's a pretty young guy. So, you ready to go see how this is going to go? You ready to see Mom kind of give me some crazy answers? He's like, yeah, I'm cool with that. You guys are super quiet, man. We got to get you guys up a little bit.
Nervous, but
You spend most of the time trying to figure out your background.
I'll take it and figure it out when I give you the explanation. Alright, so here's the thing. I'm only going to keep you guys under for 10 minutes. The reason why is if any longer than that's very disorienting, like I mentioned before. So in the event, Brandy, because you're not going to be able to want to hear us, so a family member is going to be nearby, and when we're ready to tap you out, somebody's going to tap you on the leg. So, Emma, I'm going to volunteer you. You're going to have to come over and touch her on the leg when I tell you to. Not a big deal, right?
Just when he says so.
Just when I said so. If she's talking too loud, you're gonna tell her. You're gonna tap her on the shoulder. You get to tell Mom what to do. It's pretty cool, right? No? I was gonna get her excited about something. So obviously he's got me in ear holes. So you're gonna be fine. All right. So hang on to that for just a second. Don't put it on you. You're literally going to be telling us everything that you're gonna be hearing out of the spirit box, including yes/no answers. You don't know what I'm asking. I might ask our ghost if I'm wearing a gray t-shirt. I'm expecting a yes. So tell me everything that you're hearing, including the word Charleston, yes, no, anything that comes out of it. You are obviously very good at this, so we're going to see what we can get out of this particular location. So I'm going to be watching both of your breathing just to make sure you guys are okay. If we have to tap you out early, you're still going to get to tap on the leg. That means you're going to be pulling off your own gear. I will never touch either one of you. You're obviously going to be able to hear us and hear my weird questions. You just don't know what the hell they're going to be pertaining to. All you need to do is you're going to have black smoke moving around as kind of a background. Tell us all of the pictures that generate over top of that black smoke. Plain and simple. So I'm going to set it up for you. And at this point, when you get under, like, you're going to do earbuds, then blindfold. I'm sorry, blindfold first, earbuds, and then Em is probably going to have to help you with those noise canceling headphones. So you might have to get behind them. And what you're going to do is you're going to pull this over her head and put them over her ears, just like that. So you have to pull down on the side. So, yeah, you don't need to rip them any further. They'll move when you put it on. Perfect. Just erase the pictures from last night. See any pictures on there. You stay perfect. Just set it up real quick, and then I'll slide it in there, and you'll slide the whole thing over your head, or you can just hold it up to your face. Everything's been sanitized. So from the person that used it yesterday, I'm very adamant about that, by the way. It's a stickler. I go through Lysol wipes that you would not believe. Yep, earbuds in, and then go ahead and put those noise canceling headphones over top.
Are we supposed to
Oh, yeah?
still sitting here next to each other?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're not moving around. We're sitting here watching you.
Okay.
You're the star right now.
Just me, center
Your
of
head's
attention.
too big.
Wow. I didn't mean to cause a family fight here. You slide that in because sometimes it produces an image like right away, and I just don't want to see what it is. Your adjustment for vision and focus is right here, and then you have two tabs for thumbs underneath to move it back and forth.
Okay.
So if you need to focus it, by all means do so. Actually, I told her not to touch the volume. Brandy, can you hear us? Brandy, can you hear us? Perfect. All right. So it is 11:08, and we're going to start now. So, Henry, if you're here, can you tell us what your occupation is, please? Henry Timrod, can you come forth and tell us your occupation, please? And definitely-
Radio.
Is that what you heard? Radio? Keep an eye on that word list for me. Let me know if stuff pops up there. And all of a sudden, she's going to get quiet. Henry Timrod, can you come forth and tell us what your occupation is, please?
See a slight image of what looks like a baby.
A baby. Okay. Henry, do you want to talk about your son right away?
The baby keeps
It's going to like try to produce
off
the
to the
image.
right.
Yeah. And then it'll stay there for a few seconds. And then lift her earmuff up and tell her she's supposed to be talking to us.
What?
You're supposed to be talking to us directly.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not supposed to memorize everything.
I heard when you look.
Okay. Don't you forget to tell us what the hell they're hearing. Okay, Brandy, can you hear us? Perfect. Henry, now that we have everything straight, can you please tell us your occupation? Or if you want to tell us about your son, tell us something. Tell us something specific about him. Henry, can you come forth and tell us your occupation, please? Look at the coat right there. Love it. Henry, we've got a picture that showed up on our viewfinder. Can you tell us who that is in the picture? Henry, who's in the picture? Brandy. She can hear you. Can you answer those two simple questions for us?
We will not forget.
Who's in the picture? Or tell us your occupation to prove that you're here, please. Wow. Andrea, you got nothing either?
I got smoke. That's what I see. Smoke.
Yeah,
And
she's
that
got a
same-
smoky background.
That same baby picture just keeps going.
Henry, I need you to really push forth and tell us simple answers tonight. No parlor tricks. Teach us something about you, please. Henry Timrod, are you even with us? That's a yes/no question.
Office.
Yeah, it's okay to have Tourette's. Just shout them out. Henry, who is the enemy? Who was the enemy? Did you go to war?
Rock. Smoke again.
Lots of smoke, huh? Henry Timrod, did you go to war? Tell us what war you fought in, Henry. Who was it between, or what the name of it was, will suffice.
Political.
Henry, what sound are we hearing right now? What sound is coming out of the church? What did we just hear?
It's through.
It's been about 6 minutes already, everybody. We'll see you guys how quick this goes.
Just a shame. You need to fight. Later.
Talking about that war again, Henry. Who was it between?
River. Ocean.
Henry, can you tell me what the war was about? Who was it between?
Discovered hard.
Was it?
Discovered.
Henry, you really need to push through and let us know that you're
I
here.
know you.
You're not giving us much tonight at all.
How many times?
No images at all, Gail?
It's that same baby comes up every time the smoke clears.
Really? What if I look at the same image?
Happy days.
Henry, let's talk about something where you were happier. Tell us the name of your wife, please. He was her school teacher. She was only 16 years old when they met. Unwanted advances. I like it. Henry, how old was Katie when you met her?
Yeah.
Henry, how old was Katie when you met her? We're running out of time. We're not getting a whole lot from you tonight. that's a yes, no answer. You just heard something weird. Henry, we've got about 1 minute left. What do you want to tell us? We've got several questions tonight. Feel free to answer any of them. Anything about your son, the sound that we heard from the church, name of your wife, how old she was when you met, anything about the war you fought in. All right, Henry, I'm going to call it since you've already said goodbye. I guess I will see you tomorrow night. Can you say goodnight back to us? I am here every night, on a tour. Alright, I think it's safe to say we need a tap room. So I'm going to tap her on the way. Go ahead and pull up the head here again. Alright, so the two of you, don't get up. Don't move. I don't need baby giraffes falling on the ground, so don't move for a few minutes. So, Brandy, how long do you think you were under? What did it feel like? There are no images in the gallery whatsoever.
I just saw this like this sort of image. It looked like a baby's head, like, and then it would go off to the right.
It is good.
Yeah, that's all I saw.
That's only happened like one other time. So other nights, though, some nights I've had like 10 pictures. Normally the average is about 4.
Yeah.
But this only happened where we didn't have anything once.
Huh.
So that should say something all by itself that we didn't have anything coming out of you at all. We had very vague, maybe relevant things, but nothing where I'm going to pinpoint where it's definitely a conversation. This should feel like a conversation. Like, hey, Henry, tell me your occupation. And he should say something like pen, or write, or ink, or something relative to writing because he was a writer. Like, it should feel like a conversation. I didn't feel like any of that happened. So I would definitely call this session completely unsuccessful, especially since we don't have anything as far as images go. We have a claim of you saw a baby image. We don't have the proof of it, unfortunately. So I don't know why that image did not save, but you said it kept coming up.
Yeah, but it was like, of course, I don't know what I'm looking for. So it kept on coming up on the right side. Anytime the smoke would clear, that would pop up and go away. And then the smoke would clear, and then that would pop up and go away. So I don't know if it was just.
Yeah, it's almost like a glitch.
Yeah.
Because it normally would come up across the whole screen, so you can see it with both eyes, and it'll kind of like form and be there for 10 to 20 seconds, and then disappear.
It was not like that.
Yeah, so it sounds to me like there was almost like a glitch in the app.
Okay.
So again, it might not be that he wasn't here at all, but could be, but it could also be a glitch in the app.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get in contact with the developer and make sure there weren't any hiccups or any updates that I need to do. But again, I would call this completely unsuccessful. You can go ahead and stop your videos at this point. You guys are going to see the whole video and hear